This story's going to be a bit of a bummer, so after I tell it, I'm going to show you something really cool that I found literally at the end of my street. But first, the gossip. Marriages aren't always easy. Anyone who tells you differently is trying to sell you something. Celebrity marriages in the 21st century have difficulties with the ubiquity of phone cameras and social media's constant hunger for salacious clickbait. The era commonly known as the golden years of Hollywood had a marriage breakup that was bigger and stranger than anything modern celebrity gossip has thrown at us. It's something that boggled my mind when I read it. This may be the worst marriage breakup in Hollywood history, and not a lot of people know about it. Before I start, I have to clarify that there are no goodies and baddies in this story. Both of the people involved were immensely talented and hardworking, but extremely messed up people. In a more enlightened era, they may have dealt with their personal demons in different ways and had more options, but this story is set in the late 1940s and early 1950s, which was a time not known for nuance in matters of the heart. Let's start with a man, not because he's a man, but because he's older. Nicholas Ray was a film director. He started out in the 1930s with the Federal Theatre Project, one of the cultural programs that the Roosevelt administration created during the Great Depression. And during the war, he directed radio propaganda broadcasts for the Office of War Information. And then he jumped into Hollywood, and he was Elia Kazan's assistant when Kazan directed A Tree Grows in Brooklyn in 1944. In 1947, he directed his first movie, They Live by Night, for RKO Pictures, but it wasn't released until 1949 because of Howard Hughes' shambolic takeover of the studio. It's one of the seminal film noirs, and it launched his career. Ray made two movies with Humphrey Bogart, Knock at Any Door in 1948 and In a Lonely Place in 1951. He made On Dangerous Ground with Robert Ryan and Ida Lupino, but he got sick part of the way through the movie's production, and Ida Lupino shot some of the scenes. Then he went on to make Johnny Guitar, Rebel Without a Cause, Bigger Than Life, an interesting smaller film with an ecological theme called Wind Across the Everglades, and in the early 1960s an overblown biblical epic, King of Kings, which was known in the industry as I Was a Teenage Jesus. Nicholas Ray had drug and alcohol problems and may or may not have been troubled by his bisexuality, depending on which film historian you believe. In later years he taught cinema, and he died at the age of 67 in 1979. Now on to the other party. Gloria Grahame appeared in some of the best movies of the 40s and 50s, specialising in flirtatious, vivacious and seductive women. She was Violet Bick in 1946's It's a Wonderful Life.
What? This old thing? Well, I only wear it when I don't care how I look.
Playing two very different versions of the character in each of the two alternate universes. She was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Oscar in 1947 for her role as a possible witness to a crime in Crossfire. And in 1951 she starred with Bogart in a Lonely Place. In 1952 she won Best Supporting Actress for a 9-minute role as a flirtatious wife in one of my favourite movies, The Bad and the Beautiful. And she was equally memorable as gangster Vince Stone's abused girlfriend Debbie Marsh in Fritz Lang's 1953 film noir drama The Big Heat. And just for a change of pace, she played Ado Annie in Oklahoma.
I'm just a girl who can't say no.
Gloria Grahame had some kind of psychological dysmorphia about her face, particularly her upper lip. She thought the philtrum under her nose was too prominent with too deep an indentation. So as an early adopter of plastic surgery, she tried to get that fixed, which eventually led to the paralysis of her upper lip. Stereotyping limited Gloria Grahame's career, along with the sexism and ageism of the film industry at the time, and by the early 1960s, she was doing stage work and also some guest star spots on now forgotten TV series. In the 1970s, she was making films you never heard of unless you went to a grindhouse cinema or a rural drive-in movie. But she wasn't forgotten. In 2017, Eon Productions, the James Bond film people, made a movie about her last years called Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, with Annette Bening starring as Gloria Grahame, and you should check that one out. It's a pretty good drama. But back to the marriage. In June 1948, Gloria Grahame divorced her first husband, an actor called Stanley Clements. One day later she married Nicholas Ray. 5.5 months later they had a child, Timothy. Nicholas Ray already had another son, Tony, who was born in 1937. Neither Nick nor Gloria were people who were prone to fidelity. Both of them partied pretty hard, they drank more than they should, and they were attractive and intelligent people in the Hollywood party scene. Nicholas Ray's career was doing great in 1951. He had a new contract with RKO and things were looking up, but his marriage to Gloria Grahame was already on the skids. They'd made In a Lonely Place together, but things weren't working out for them. In later years, he said he married her because she was pregnant, and on their wedding night in Las Vegas, he spent all his money at the craps table so she wouldn't get his dough. In June 1951, Ray's 13-year-old son Tony was on summer vacation from his military school in the East. Unexpectedly, he turned up at the Malibu beach house Nicholas Ray was renting from his friend John Houseman. Ray wasn't home, but Gloria Grahame was. When the man of the house did come home, he found his son and his wife in bed, and he wasn't pleased. He threw Tony out of the house, he smashed the place up, and he drove away to sleep under the porch of a friend's house. Nicholas Ray moved into an apartment at the Garden of Valor and forced his son to narrate a confession on a tape recorder so he could divorce Gloria Grahame without giving her any money. Many years later, Ray's friend Gavin Lambert asked him if he thought Tony had slept with Gloria to get revenge on him for being a neglectful father. The reluctant answer he got was, maybe. But it didn't quite end there. In 1961, Gloria Grahame reunited with Tony Ray and they got married. This technically made him the stepfather to his own half-brother Timothy. Gloria and Tony divorced in 1974. Like I said, there are no goodies or baddies in this story. Nicholas Ray was no better than Gloria was. While making Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, he had a sexual relationship with his 17-year-old star Natalie Wood. So there it is, the story of the worst marriage breakup in Hollywood history. And as promised, here is the cool thing I found at the end of my street. Children here in Melbourne feel isolated from their friends and their community, so they borrowed an idea from the UK, and suddenly spoonvilles are popping up everywhere. Children take wooden spoons, and it has to be wood. They decorate them with faces and clothing and put them in public areas. These little forests of spoons spring up spontaneously like mushrooms. Spoon villages are an opportunity for kids to connect with others, to express themselves, and also to find something new when they go out on the 1 hour of outdoor exercise we're permitted while we're trying to eradicate the virus from our community. The imagination, creativity and optimism of these kids really warms my heart. There are also painted stones there. There's an LGBTQI rainbow stone at my local Spoonville and other patterns as well. I've often said that there's a natural tendency for people to form communities. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not, but mostly it's good. And finding the Spoonville at the end of my street really cheered me up. So if you enjoyed this video or you like Spoonvilles, please consider subscribing, liking the video and hitting the notification bell. You can also support the channel through Patreon. Take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, follow the science and hug the people you love if you're able to. I'll be back on Saturday with another video and I'll catch you then.